All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. This is kind of a surprise video, really. I wasn't even planning on doing this, but we're here for UFC 300. We're gonna do a little predictions game, and kind of just see what goes on. I don't know how long this is gonna be, so expect it. I think this will come out on Friday. I'm pretty sure. That's the plan, like in the afternoon before the fights, at least. So, yeah, we're gonna start railing off some predictions here, I guess.
Absolutely.
Baby.
We starting the beginning or start at the
let's
end?
start-
Beginning.
Let's
Start
start
at the
with,
beginning.
Middle of the card.
All right, middle of the card. Yeah.
Let's start with Figgy and Garbrandt. Davidson Figueiredo, Cody Garbrandt. First fight of the card.
See, okay. Here's the thing. I don't know if I put this in our group chat or not, but to avoid any ties, you have to pick the finish as well.
Easy.
I don't know if you guys prepare. I might have only texted you about that, but
I'm ready. I got it all.
I wrote down finishes too, so we can avoid any
Sounds good to me.
tiebreakers. And we don't really have a wager or anything on this. It's just kind of to
Snuggled
see
up.
who wins.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, I don't know if we want.
Deck, you want to lead us off since it's your show?
Yeah. All right. So my first fight, we got Figgy and Cody. I got this going to decision. I got it going to Cody.
Okay.
Why?
I don't know. See, I haven't watched. I gotta,
It's interesting. It's an interesting fight from
It is.
a couple perspectives.
I honestly just haven't watched Cody fight enough. I know Cody's looked really good his last couple of fights. He looks like he's starting to get it back. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of people, it seems, the general consensus seems to be that Figgy's going to win. And I don't know. I feel like people are underestimating the Cody we've seen the last 2 or 3 fights. And I feel like this will be one of those fights where they're trying so hard to knock each other out that they're just not. You know what I mean? Because that's going to be like every fight.
Just missing everything.
That 300K bonus is going to play a lot into what's going on here.
See, to me, I see it going a different direction. I think you look at past records, and I think you see Cody's never subbed anybody.
Right.
Figgy's got 8 subs on his record. I think if I'm coaching Davidson Figueiredo, I'm telling him come out early, throw a little bit, and then shoot the takedown, and just try and hold him down for 3 rounds. I think you walk away with a win in your new weight class. I think you establish your presence, beating a legend in that weight class. I mean, I think it's truly how you play.
I don't know, dude. 300K speaks volumes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think once that got said at the press conference, everybody's game plan just got a little thrown out the window.
I think game plan just left, and it was all right. We're gonna punch each other.
Yeah, the game plan
See
is
what
knock
happens.
you out. That is everybody's game plan here.
My prediction for this one is I think Figueiredo for 3 rounds holds Garbrandt to the ground and wins by unanimous decision, and it's the most boring fight of the card.
I disagree.
I could not disagree more.
Yeah.
Get out.
I don't think that's going to be the most boring
No.
Market.
fight on
I've
record.
got
right now.
Yeah, I've got Figgy by decision because it's his second fight at bantamweight, and I think historically he was a absolutely gargantuan flyweight. Like his cuts were ruthless, but I think now that he's up at a bigger weight class, it's not his first fight up there. Which his first fight he fought Rob Font, basically the exact same size as Garbrandt, and he totally dominated the fight. And typically, a fighter's first fight at that new weight class that's their rough one. He got that out of the way and he looked great. And I would say that, no offense to Garbrandt, he's a Ohio boy.
Right.
But I think that Garbrandt, right now and where he's at in his career, I think he's a step down from where Rob Font is, because Rob Font's nasty and he got taken care of. So I don't think Figgy will knock him out. I think he has the power, but I don't know. I think Garbrandt just has that aura around him. But I think that I could see Figgy handling that fight pretty well and getting a UD.
But see, that's why I feel like Cody, because if Cody gets into a rhythm and he starts being a goofball like he is, and he starts like showing off and whatnot, that's why I feel like I think that just kind of depends, because if Cody gets into his flow and he starts going, I think he wins. I don't think he's going to go for a knockout. Literally, like Kevin Holland and MVP at 299,
Just fun.
like could have done it, could have went for a finish, but instead he just, like, literally, if you're playing the UFC video game, like you're just standing
almost like for
winning.
a show type of
Yeah,
thing. Yeah,
like it's So if he gets in that rhythm, which I feel like he will, just based off of his last couple fights, if he comes out looking just as good as he has, I feel like he comes out and he starts showboating a little too much, and that's why he wins a decision. Because I don't know, Cody's a striker, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I think this one will be, without a doubt, in my opinion, I think it'll be one of the best fights on the card. I think it's going to be heat.
It's crazy to think that this is the first fight that's going to turn on for the whole day, because usually if you're watching a UFC, like even the numbered cards, you're like, all right,
Sure.
well, before I moved in here, I would have been like, okay, well, I can show up a little bit late. I don't need to watch first fight. Here, you literally cannot. You can't move.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a good fight. I guess I would be a little scared that Figgy's just going to go to the ground. Maybe, but
Figgy's got hands, and he looked. I don't know. I feel like he looked real tough against Rob Font on the feet. So I feel like. I think it'll be a banger. I think that one could very easily. That's one of my ones that I'm most unsure about, because I think both dudes could just just knock the other one out.
I think there's a lot of fights like that where I'm like, I don't know, this could just go either way.
Right. This entire card, yeah.
I think, well, like I said, we keep mentioning the 300K bonus is just, it's going to get to a point where both of the fighters in any fight are just going to be like, let's go for it.
Right.
And that can cause anybody's chin to crack, you know? So,
yeah.
I don't know, but starting off with fireworks, yeah.
Yeah.
1,000%. So what's your call on it?
I got Cody by decision.
Figgy by decision.
I got Figgy by decision.
All right. So there we go. We got a little bit of a split.
Go into that next one. Jim Miller, Bobby Green. I think in this one you got two questions that need to be answered, and I think those determine how this fight plays out. Number one, Bobby Green. How has he recovered from his knockout? That last fight against Jalen Turner wasn't favorable.
He almost died.
It was a bit of a late stoppage.
Yeah.
What a terrible stoppage.
So the question you ask is, going into this fight, how much has his chin healed? How much is, can he stay awake?
Well, judging from the press conference, there's a little bit of CTE that snuck in already. So
it's actually funny, because I had two questions come to mind for that fight too. They're a little different. It was, how hard is Bobby Green's head gonna hit the canvas, and then what is Jim Miller gonna spend $300,000 on? Because there's no shot Bobby CTE Green is gonna touch my boy Jim. No shot.
See, the other question I have with Jim Miller is, how much magic's left? He's UFC 100, UFC 200, UFC 300. Does he hang up the gloves if he wins?
Me and Andrew talked about this 2 days ago?
Yeah.
Andrew made a very strong case that Jim Miller could very well, there's a world, we could be living in a world where Jim Miller goes for a title at 42.
Hear me out. Okay. Hear me out.
Let's go down the rabbit hole a little bit.
I have to.
Let's hear this.
Okay, Bobby Green. He's 14. He's number 14 in the lightweight division. He was talking a little bit like he actually does have CTE, because he received an absolute lashing from Jalen Turner. So I see a world where Jim Miller goes out and does Jim Miller stuff, knocks him out, draws another ranked opponent, someone in that space, say like, I don't know, the loser of Turner and Moicano, two ranked opponents, very reasonably could win one of those. And then at that point, if you look at like Benoit Saint Denis, he drew a shot, which I think we can all agree that if he would have knocked out Poirier, title shot. There's really be no question about it. So I think it's a very reasonable world where you need Jim Miller to win two fights, which he's proven that he's capable of doing, and then he gets the shot at winning a fight and fighting for a title. So I think...
Yeah, but those are some tough fights to win. I mean, you look at the guys standing in that path. You have Gaethje, you have Poirier, you have Sarukin, you have Oliveira, you have Fiziev. I mean, it's a stacked division.
See, if Jim Miller wins, and I really hope not, but if Charles loses, I feel like we could get to a world where Charlie and Jim Miller go to see who's taking the lead, because
that would be their third fight. I mean, those two guys have fought before.
So if Charles does
lose, is split.
I could see them running that back if Jim Miller wins.
So look, I've got the rankings up right here. Strengthens my case a little bit. So you have him beat Bobby Green, who's 14. a very reasonable next fight for him could be RDA, because RDA, he has a fight scheduled right now, I believe. I don't know who that's against, but I know he has one scheduled.
Didn't he just fight? He fought at 299.
No, he did. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Which he ended up losing to Gamrot, but he fell down to 12. That's a reasonable jump. If he wins that, I think another reasonable fight for him would be Benny Darush, which he's 7 right now.
Yeah.
There's a world.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying it's gonna happen
let's
it's
just
a long
come back
shot,
to reality for a second. He's got a tough, like, Bobby Green's not an easy fight. Like, truthfully, Bobby Green, looking at his stats, he's notched 11 wins by knockout, 9 by submission. Dude Archie standing up or on the ground. Will I concede that Jim Miller's better on the ground? Yes. So I would say, I think, as far as my prediction goes, I think this fight starts off on the feet. Jim Miller probably rocks Bobby Green at one point, and that's where it ends. Is he takes him to the ground, he submits him, notches another one on the belt, rides off in the sunset.
All right, so you guys ready for this? Because I agree with you, but you don't know how I have this fight. I got Bobby Green knockout in the first round.
It's reasonable. It's a reasonable.
I'm about to kick you off your own show.
Dude,
don't go against Jim Miller.
No, I don't want to, and I've been saying this ever since I heard about this fight. I've been scared for Jim Miller since I heard about this fight because I just have a feeling. I don't know. We're talking about the same dude that somehow submitted Tony Ferguson. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just unpredictable.
It's a slide, Ferguson.
I'm not. No disrespect to Tony because he was the man for a while. But
my point being, like, Bobby Green. I don't know. You were saying something about submissions, but I feel like I don't know Bobby Green to be a ground guy, to say the least.
That's fair. But the other thing that I think you also have to remember is what happened with Tony and Paddy Pimblett.
Yeah.
Paddy won. So how big is that difference between Bobby Green and Paddy Pimblett?
Yeah.
And then would you have Jim Miller beat?
I just think they both are going to go into there wanting to put on a show and wanting to get that money, and I could see them starting off just swinging. And I feel like Bobby can win an exchange. And I was kind of just going with my gut here. And I honestly, this is one I hope I'm wrong about because I'm here for the Jim Miller title run.
Oh,
it's
here happening. For it. Glover did it.
It's
just time.
So I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know. Just a feeling.
Yeah. I just want to preface. I know it's probably not going to happen. I know the magic runs out, but there's a little bit left. I've got my boy Jim Miller first round knockout, baby. He's gonna get it done.
Did you give it already?
I said Jim Miller submission.
Jim Miller submission.
Yes.
Okay.
He beat Oliveira.
I know. I guess.
He's got better jiu-jitsu than Oliveira.
That's crazy.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
I mean, he beat him in 2010.
Buns Charlie.
Like, yeah.
He beat pre-child Olives. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, I don't know. I really hope I'm wrong about that fight though. I'm here for the Jim Miller title run. Yeah. Just I don't know. Just a feeling.
We'll have to make shirts for
it. yeah. So everybody knows right here on the internet
this is where
that
it started.
We said it. We were the ones.
That's where it started.
Jim Miller's got to do something for us if he wins this title. We got to be in the. We got to put the belt around him.
My sweet prince will take care of me.
Moving on.
To the bathroom break. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to get political here. I'm just messing around.
This could be an interesting fight. Jessica Andrade versus Mariana Rodriguez.
I genuinely don't know anything about this fight at all.
Andrade, she's coming off a win against Mackenzie Dern, where she knocked her out. It was a good fight for Andrade. It was a good step back into the win category. Especially after a couple hard fights, especially losing to Blanchfield, just in the methods that she has lost. I think it's a good step in the right direction. The question is, Mariana Rodriguez, can she stun her enough to win this? And Mariana Rodriguez isn't going to win it on the ground. She's got to keep this standing. She's got to keep fighting, basically on the feet, and she's got to knock her out. Because you're not going to win a decision against Jessica Andrade.
Yeah. Which is exactly why I have Jessica Andrade by decision. So it works out.
See, I'm actually really thrilled about this fight because I've got a long day tomorrow. Obviously, UFC 300's rolling up.
Drinking
It's
a
gonna
lot
be-
of fluids.
Drinking a lot of fluids. It's going to be a nice little bathroom break. I'm thinking maybe a 15-minute power nap. Wake up, see Mariano Rodriguez by decision. We're chilling.
I'm taking on Josh by knockout.
I don't know.
I'm taking
I don't
it.
know.
I'm taking it. You know?
All right. See, this will probably either prove how smart you guys are and how much of a casual I am, or how much going off your gut. Can
Being the only
make
person
you
in here
right.
with combat sport
Oh,
experience.
shut up.
Jiu-jitsu for 2 months.
Well, that's why you're on my show. I'm the only person with podcast experience. See, you see how that sounds?
I'm the one with the degree in sports.
Oh,
School.
push my glasses up,
School.
nerd.
All right, moving on to the next fight after the bathroom break. Jalen Turner
The
versus
Spider King.
Yeah, the Spider
King.
King versus Renato Moicano.
Jalen Turner is probably my favorite fighter that I get to see on prelim fights. Like, he's the most, like, not known. Like, he's not known, I say with quotations, but, like,
He has wars.
yeah,
He
he's got some
takes
fun
people
fights.
deep. Here's the question. I think it's funny because I keep saying here's the question, but here's the question with this fight. Where is it going to be fought? If it's on the ground, Moicano wins. I think Moicano's the better. He's the better on the ground. He's got 10 submissions in his pro career, 0 knockouts. I think that tells the story of this fight. I think you take it to the ground. Moicano's got the advantage. But can Turner stuff these takedowns, keep the fight standing, and throw some, do what he did to Bobby Green?
Jalen Turner's just so big, dude. Like, he's so tall for his division that I feel like it's either going to be really hard to get him down, or it's going to take a lot out of Moicano to get him down just because he's so big. Like, so I don't know.
See, I've got a special place in my heart for Jalen Turner. Getting to go to that UFC 290 and seeing that war with him and Dan Hooker. Shout out to the City Kickboxing. I don't think Dan Hooker won that fight. I thought Jalen Turner. I thought he did enough.
Like
He did some real damage.
I don't think I watched that fight, but I feel like I remember hearing people say that was a robbery.
Crazy.
I wasn't upset either way. It was such a good fight that I was just, you know what, call it what you want. I'm taking Turner by decision.
I got Jalen Turner round 2 knockout.
It's actually really funny you said that. I also have Jalen Turner
what I'm
round 2
talking
knockout.
about. That's what I'm talking about, dude.
My reasoning for it though is if you look at Moicano, I don't think he's ever. I don't think most people who haven't fought Jalen Turner have fought a 6'4" lightweight. He's
right.
He's enormous.
That's what I mean. He's like
And
one
even
of a kind.
even with his weight cut, he looked huge.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's gonna be very difficult for him to close the gap and get him to the ground. Like, the only way I can even see him doing it is maybe catching a kick or something.
That's what I mean. I feel like
But Turner doesn't even. I don't know. He does throw kicks.
I feel like you talk about taking Jalen Turner down the same way you talk about taking Sean Strickland down. Like, he's just so big that it's like hard for you to get him down because there's just so much, you know.
And
Yep.
especially with Moicano, he's 5'11", so he's not necessarily small for a lightweight, but he's also going against like a enormous human for 155 pounds, which I think when you get someone like that on the ground, it's really tricky to like just do simple passes and submissions and stuff. So I think even if he gets him to the ground, I think he's going to really struggle to keep him there.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately Turner's probably just going to be a little bit too lethal with that.
I could see
with that
him.
offense.
I could see him getting caught going for a takedown or something. You know.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, to me, when I look at this fight, here's what I see playing. I think Moicano's going to try and take him down early and often, and I think Turner's going to stuff, I would say 90% of his takedowns. I think he keeps it on the feet, he controls the distance, lands enough strikes that he's going to walk away at the end of 3 rounds with a win.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's
Like,
going to be a
there's
unanimous decision.
there's just so I'm sure he has a gigantic reach advantage, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way he doesn't. I didn't look at it, but
I can pull it up.
you know what I mean. So that's it'll be really easy for him to stuff takedowns or keep him away far enough to be able to read it faster. You know.
Absolutely.
Um,
So,
But I think, that said, I think like you're saying decision, but I think Jalen Turner's just too good of a striker to be able to.
you
Like,
think he finishes it?
I think
You know, I would say it wouldn't surprise me. It's
Yeah.
one of those fights that, looking at it on paper, I could argue it both ways.
That's why I don't think it's a decision, because I think Jalen Turner just has too much power to, like, any of those punches he's throwing or kicks that he's throwing at Moicano while he's trying to do stuff, they're just too powerful to not knock somebody out, you know?
Yeah, so the reach is 77 inches to 72, and then leg reach 46 inches to 42 and a half inches. So he's got some fair play there. And I think another aspect that you also have to consider is coming off of that slaughter that he did to Bobby Green. I don't know. There's just a level of momentum that comes from beating someone like that who's so loud and pronounced and just, like, arguably just changing their career forever with that type of beatdown.
Yeah.
I think that, in my opinion, it probably could have went a little bit longer. I think it got stopped a little early. But, I'm not a ref.
See, here's the thing. We just talked about Jim Miller's title run, and I talked to you not too long ago about fighters that are, like, not very high up there that I want to see make title runs.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the Jalen Turner title run, dude. I want it. I want it so bad.
Spider King, baby.
The Spider King.
I think he's got to win some tough fights, and I think that's what forever in his career has been the stopping point. Is when it gets those tough fights, he comes out on the wrong end of them a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, he's young, isn't he? He's not that old.
No, he's younger. I think he's...
Like, he's probably still in his 20s, isn't he?
I think I have it on there. Hold on.
Anyways, I'm sticking by it. Turner by decision. Gonna be a good fight, but it'll be a good showing for Jalen Turner. I think from there, I think he starts.
28.
I think he has to call out somebody higher. I think that's where you start looking at.
Where's he at? He's like the 9 range, right? Is he ranked 9?
He's 10. But I think you could have a really interesting fight with him and Benoit Saint Denis. I think that'd be a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
Or him versus the loser of Sarukian and Oliveira. I think that'd be a fun fight too.
I mean, and another guy, you have to mention in this conversation is, Beneil Dariush.
Poor guy.
Is that somebody you
want?
want?
I love Benny
and
so much.
Is
my
that a
brother
fight
in
you want to
Christ.
make?
Yeah.
Turner versus Dariush.
So sad. I didn't know too much about Benny, but anytime I hear about Benny, he's just getting knocked out by somebody nowadays.
He's like a strong Christian. He's a really nice guy. He's my brother in Christ, but I don't know.
It's sad.
I want him to retire and live a happy life with his family and not get hurt anymore. It kills me so much.
Yeah, it's
All
okay.
right. So that rounds out our early prelims, which to be honest, that's incredible. That's such a great. That's the best early prelims.
I would argue that's a very stacked fight night.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So I mean, what you get? I feel like Cody Figge, if it's a decision, it's gonna be messy. Like, it'll be a messy decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like, I feel like if you hear somebody talk about decision, they don't explain the fight, then you think like, oh, decision, But I think that could be like a very like bloody decision.
I think those are gonna be two dudes who are gonna be very hard to put
So
away.
you have that, and then, like, if it goes the way I'm thinking, you have 2 knockouts, and then your bathroom break. There you go.
The good old melatonin fight puts you right to sleep.
So looking at the first fight of the prelims, Sadiq Youssef versus Diego Lopez.
I just really like Diego Lopez, but I don't know enough about, like, either of these fighters I just kind of went with my gut on this
Lopez
one.
had a ton of fights outside the UFC. Got in to the UFC by taking a short notice bout against Mavzar Evola. It was close.
Who's counting, dude?
He lost
It all sounds the
lost
same.
the fight, but had a good showing. And ever since then, he's kind of been a fan favorite.
Well, I watched him. Didn't he get a knockout against somebody in his last fight?
Yeah.
I remember watching his last fight.
Pat Sabatini. First round
I don't know when
knockout.
that was.
That wasn't too long ago. That was like a couple
I believe
months
it was
ago.
December.
Oh, Colby Leon, right? That was December.
I think so, yeah. But it's a situation where I think Diego Lopez has this fight pretty handily, and I think it's a submission. I think submission by Lopez.
I feel like this was probably going to be my worst take because I don't know anything about either of these guys. I've taken Youssef in decision because I don't know.
Youssef is a decision merchant. He's 6 decisions on his career opposed to his 6 wins.
See, that's why we don't use stats on the channel.
Six,
it's just pure instinct.
No, it's
I'm
6
just too good at it.
TKOs. I mean, it's
on
just
the cranium.
I just know.
I don't know. I mean, Sadiq Yusuf's coming off a loss to Edson Barboza. Didn't look great, in my opinion. I think it's an easy win for Diego Lopez, and I think it gets him ranked.
Yeah, because Yusuf's 13, 14?
Yep, 13.
Yeah, 13. So, yeah, that would definitely get him ranked, and I'm here for it. Like I said, this is also another one that I kind of hope I'm wrong about because I do really like Diego Lopez.
Yeah.
Plus, that Spartan gear that he was wearing for his photo shoot, that's pretty sick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I had this one as Lopez for a decision. I feel like this is going to be one of those where Yusuf kind of just gets taken down. I could see a takedown pretty early on in every round, and Lopez just not really being able to finish it. I don't know. I mean, I can't necessarily say I know enough about both of these fighters, but just based on what I have seen in the resumes, I don't feel like there's going to be some crazy. Like I don't foresee this being.
I think this is a fight that I'm like. I like Diego Lopez, but I'm also like not expecting much. So it's like it just adds on to the night if you see something crazy, but you're also not disappointed if it's just a fight, because you're not expecting anything crazy from this fight.
Right.
And it's also just kind of being underlooked because of everything else going on.
Yeah, I think it'll be just a little bit more of a boring fight. I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, I don't know. I see this one going to the ground and just kind of the whole round kind of being just dragged out, nothing really happening, and that's that.
Speaking of a boring fight, our next fight's a real bathroom break.
I don't know about that.
You better stop. Don't
Holly
talk on her like
versus
that.
Kayla Harrison.
Oh, I don't know, dude. I feel like this one.
I don't think this is gonna be a good fight. I gotta be real. I think this will go down as the fight that everybody says, you could have kept that off.
No.
Better.
I already have a fight over that we could have kept off here.
Me
We'll
too.
get to it.
Yeah.
We'll get
Could it
to
be on the main card?
I wonder.
Anyways, I think Kayla Harrison gets it done. Unanimous decision. Holly Holm, everybody begs her to retire, and she won't.
I think everyone's been begging Holly to retire since she lost the belt. I don't know, dude. I think Kayla she's gnarly, dude. She looks kind of like a man. I think it kind of gives me kind of a similar feeling to that whole Nunes Pena, where there was just the canvas was a different color just from blood. That's kind of, I don't know, I kind of get that feeling. I mean, you saw Kayla Harrison over in one. She was a nightmare, and I don't know, just seeing with her resume with, having two gold medals in the Olympics for judo. I don't know. I think she's gonna handle it, and then I don't know about after that, but I know she'll handle this one.
So what do you got? What's your finish?
Boy, it just went away. Sorry. I have her by decision because I don't
see. This could be just another little like just a brain fart, or it could be like my brain was onto something here. I don't know. It could be crazy. She could be terrible on the ground. I have a round 2 sub for Kayla Harrison.
I mean, she's a judo world champion multiple times. I mean,
that's
a good prediction.
1,000. I would say
the fight will be on the ground at some point.
I would take the over on 20 takedowns because it's just going to be get in tight, step in front, judo throw.
Yeah,
and just do that.
I don't
wash, rinse, and repeat.
I'm not going to be able to give too much 2 cents other than just what I feel like in my brain for at least the prelims, because a lot of these fighters I haven't really seen yet. And like until we get to like the meat of the main card, I won't be able to. I could really give like more analysis there. But for this one, like I said, it's just brain knowledge, like what I feel like in my brain sounds right. And yeah, I don't know too much. Obviously, Holly Holmes, the Ronda Rousey slayer, and Ronda Rousey can't let it go for some reason.
Yeah. Always something.
Whatever.
There.
I had a concussion. Blah blah blah. Like okay, dude.
I was a little tired going on.
Yeah.
No, well, she was like, Holly Holm was like a plus 600 or plus 800 or something crazy like that in that fight, too. So it's not like, I mean, we saw obviously what she did, but it seemed a little, that was kind of reminiscent of the whole, like, I guess Usman and Leon was a little reminiscent of that, where you have one fighter kind of expected to just get dominated and then, puncher's chance, so.
Yeah. So, yeah, so we all 3 picked Kayla Harrison first one, right?
Yeah, I had Harrison by decision.
Decision.
All right, I had around 2 subs, so we'll see.
Okay. We'll see how
We'll
let's
see.
see how it ends. Next fight, Aljamain Sterling, Calvin Kattar.
See, I've been saying this to you guys all week. I don't understand the Aljo hate. I know it's less now than it used to be. I when I first, I guess my first real discovery of Aljo was the Sugar fight, unfortunately. So I don't hate him. I think he's fine. I'm rooting for him to win. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to win. I have Calvin Kattar round 1 knockout. I think Aljo tries to shoot for something, and Kattar puts his lights out.
Yeah.
Pretty much exactly what happened to him against Sugar, I think is going to happen.
Yeah, I also have Kattar for a first round knockout. I think even if you look at it at their face off, he's so just enormously bigger than Aljo. Which Aljo had a really good weight cut. He looked very big. But
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I don't know. I mean, he's never fought someone at that size. He fought Sugar, but he wasn't Sugar's not
Sugar's just
he's
big
wiry,
for his class. Yeah.
but he's not thick like Kattar. No Diddy, but my bad. But
a little political here.
I don't know. I mean, Kattar's kind of been that dude. He's been out for a little bit, but he's always been that guy. I think Aljo's really I've always been on Team Aljo. I didn't like how obviously he won the belt, but he was very active, and you didn't see him run away from that fight after what was happening with Jan. He instantly called for the rematch and handily took care of him. And then, I mean, he went on to defend it a couple more times, which, I don't know. I've got a deep level of respect for any champ who, number one, would take a situation like that and go and want that rematch to prove that they are the better fighter.
Right.
And then anyone who wants to actually defend their belt and is not from Dagestan.
See, I've got Aljo by unanimous decision, and I think it's going to be a situation where I think Aljo's going to be able to get Calvin to the ground. Calvin's a boxer. His strength is on the feet, and I think everybody knows it. I think Aljo's going to shoot about 100 takedowns. I think it's going to be reminiscent of something you'd see from Merab. I think he's going to get him to the ground. I think he's going to hold him there for 3 rounds.
Yeah, see, that's a world where I can see Aljo doing that. I don't think there's any way he wins this fight with a knockout.
No.
But it's kind of like how I've described what I think is going to happen with Sugar and Merab. It's either Merab gets in for the takedown, and if he gets in for the takedown, he wins. But if he gets caught by Sugar like that, your example was the knee that Cheeto ate from Sugar. Merab's head will split in half with that knee.
Yeah.
He will be dead. I feel like it's the same situation here. If either Aljo's gonna go in for a takedown, and if he gets that takedown, it's over. He'll probably win the fight, but he also has a very high chance of getting caught and put out. So, and I think that's what's gonna happen.
This is kind of the one thing I want to say about the Aljo and Merab thing, because obviously we know they're boys. Styles are totally different. Both of them have crazy cardio, but I had to pull it up because I didn't want to say anything wrong. But in the Merab Piotr Jan fight, he shot 11 of 49 takedowns. I'm saying this in Aljo poses a real threat on the ground. He's the backpack king. That's what he does. He choked out Sandman. He's choked out numerous people from backpacking him, and he controlled Piotr Jan literally the entire fight by doing that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, did either of you guys watch that fight? The Aljo Jan fight?
Mm-hmm.
No, I haven't.
I guess the second one. But it wasn't a million takedowns. It was he would take him down, and he was just dominant on the ground. It wasn't him shooting, getting him down, and then them just standing back up. Because you don't shoot 49 times and have any sort of a threat on the ground, in my opinion.
Right.
So I think you see a world where, if what you're saying is true, I think Aljo shoots one takedown and drags him down and then just holds him.
Yeah. And
poses submissions, tires him out, and then just wins.
And I think that's Aljo by UD. I think that's how it's going to end up.
I don't know. I think
like you said, he's a boxer. I could see literally the same thing, dude. Just going in, just like he did against Sugar.
I don't want to see it. I like.
I don't either, because like I said, I like Aljo. There's a lot of fights like that where I'm like, I'm gonna pick this because I think it's right, but I don't want it to be right. You know, this is the third fight on here like that.
Right.
Where I'm like,
Yeah.
But
I'm in the same boat with you. First round knockout for.
But I don't know. Like you said, he's a boxer. Calvin Kattar's a boxer, and I think he'll be good enough. Especially Aljo going up in weight. You know, who knows that extra weight adding on, slow him down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Calvin Kattar's been used to it, so
Right. That's the
might
other
be
thing.
might be easier for him to read those takedowns and throw in a uppercut or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see. Look at the next fight: Yuri Prohaska versus Alexander Rakic.
I feel like this is one that we're all gonna be.
Rakic.
But I think we're all gonna agree on this one. I just got a feeling.
I think Yuri wins it.
I got Yuri winning.
Rakic.
Me too, brother.
Rakic hasn't fought in what, 2 years?
Yeah, he's been on layoff.
I truthfully, and right now Yuri's the underdog. I think that would be the safest bet I've ever placed. But at the same time, you never know.
I also for some reason don't have this fight. Like I have a round 3 knockout. I don't have it like right away. But I don't know. I've never seen like Ragged. What, this is his first fight in 2 years. I was not watching UFC 2 years ago. Well, maybe I definitely wasn't as into it as I am now. So I have no experience. I don't know. Like it. Yuri and Pereira went to that finished in round 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just
round 2.
I don't know. Rakic coming back. Like I feel like it's easy to see this one like a lot of feeling out and kind of staying back. I could see it being a little slow to start, and that's the reason that this would go 3 rounds.
Right.
But I see Yuri getting it done.
Yeah.
This was kind of one that I'm like, I hope it does, because obviously Poton being my favorite fighter, I was like not on Team Yuri last fight, but I'm ready to be a fan now. I'm ready to embrace the samurai. You know what I mean?
Open your heart, brother.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go like put an eye patch on in the woods and read books or whatever Yuri does.
That's what you do: punch trees and read. It's the best MMA base. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like anyone who steps into the octagon with Yuri, I don't think there's a way that you do it without inherently taking on a threat of just catching an elbow, like what he did to Dominic Reyes.
Yes.
Absolutely foul. And even him with Glover, him going 5 rounds and subbing him in the 5th. Like, yeah, Glover was definitely winning that fight, but I think there's, without a doubt, a piece of Glover that was taken from that fight, which I think you saw with Jamal Hill, which we'll get to that later. But
yeah,
I don't foresee really anybody. I would argue I don't think there's anybody in the world who could go from a 2-year layoff to jump into an octagon with Yuri Prohaska on literally the biggest stage in the sport and not get knocked out. So I've got Yuri by round 3 knockout.
Same here. I've got Yuri by knockout, and I don't think it's going to be a situation where. I think this fight's going to be lopsided. I think this is going to be one of those fights that you look at it and it's very clear who the winner is and who the better fighter is, and I think it's Yuri.
Yeah.
What round do you have him get knocked down
in? I think it's going to be a later round, 2 or 3.
You can't say 3. You have to say 2.
Okay.
You already said 3.
Somebody's got to be wrong here.
Yeah.
I am excited though. I'm excited to finally be able to watch Yuri as like a fan. It's just that's what we said. Like, well, I think you said it. You were like, I'm excited to watch this just as an MMA fan.
Yeah.
I can't. I have 2 of my my top 2 guys are on this card. I can't do that, and it sucks.
No, and I mean, truthfully
know?
speaking, like, there's a lot of guys on this card that I really enjoy, like, as people, like, I love
Andrew,
their
even you, dude,
personalities.
you got a fight in here with your top guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, but
I'm
at the
scared.
same time, this is just such a monumental card, and there's such a great level of fighting that's gonna go on tomorrow night.
except for Andrade and.
That's my.
I'm
Go get my oil changed. Just do something. I mean,
Get my oil.
I don't want to watch
That's
that.
crazy.
I don't want to watch that junk. Get
All
off
right. I think it's time.
Women's sports.
All right,
All right.
to the
Sorry.
main card.
I think it's time to get this one out of the way.
Bo
And get this
Nickel.
one off the card.
Bo Nickel, Cody Brundage.
I've got Cody Brundage, round 1 submission. No.
I
He's
got
done.
I got Brundage with a 5-second K. I'm just kidding.
Flying knee.
I'm just kidding. I do have this Bo Nickel round 1 knockout. That's what I have.
Mhm.
I think he gets it done quick. This is one. I think it would be very hard to convince me that I'm wrong, but I want to be wrong. It's like March Madness watching the 16 seed play the 1 seed. I really hope I'm wrong, but I know I'm not. Unless it's Virginia, who's the 1 seed, but or unfortunately not Zach Edey, because I think that's gonna be a theme on here. I'm just gonna crap on Zach Edey wherever it happens.
I'm done with him.
I'm taking Bo Nickel second round sub. I think this fight gets out of the first round. I think second round he goes back to his wrestling. I think first round he strikes with him. I think second round he says, I'm gonna take him down. I'm just gonna submit him. And I think it's the first step to Bo Nickel's eventual. I think this will be the last can he fights.
Does Bo Nickel get a title shot within the next year and a half?
No, I think next 5 years, yeah, but I don't think the next year and a half.
Because he wins his fight, he's getting ranked.
He fights so sparsely though. He fights so sparsely.
But is that a Bo Nickel thing or is that a Dana thing? I feel like that's more of a Dana thing.
I think it's a Bo thing in my opinion. Like just listening to him talk, because I saw an interview. I want to say it was actually it was on Joe Rogan. He went on there and he specifically said that he was trying to be very careful with the fights he took. He wanted he said he had like a 3-year plan for the title, but I don't know. I'm a little sick of it. I think that to be as I think to carry that type of personality and be as cocky as he is about it, I think it's a little ridiculous for you to fight whoever he's fought. What, Trayshawn Gore, which
that got canceled.
No, who was his first fight? Jamie Pickett, which he obviously choked Jamie Pickett out, and then he fought what was that guy's name?
I can't remember.
No, it was Trayshawn Gore. You're right. Trayshawn Gore was his first fight. Jamie Pickett got canceled.
He beat one of them by first round sub, and then he fought that one guy. I don't know why I can't think of his name. Val Woodburn.
That's the fight.
Which
watched.
He literally has a landscaping company. That's what he does.
Yeah.
And he got called on short notice to the card that we were at.
Yeah.
And obviously he got knocked out first round. So
Worst $20 I've ever spent.
You know what's crazy? Bo Nickel, that card that he fought Val Woodburn on, I think Ian Gary was on that, or I had also just watched Ian Gary within the last couple weeks, and they were like the 2 young guys that you guys were telling me about that were like gonna end up shaping up to be studs, and everybody liked them, and here we are. Nobody likes Bo Nickel anymore, and nobody likes Ian Gary anymore. It's kind of crazy.
I'm very convinced the Bo Nickel hate doesn't come from anything he controls. I think the Bo Nickel hate is because he's on the main card.
For this specifically. Bo Nickel hate has ramped up before this decision.
Bo has had hate. It's, in my opinion, I think it's because he's proven, and I don't, regardless of what you think about him, the wrestling's pretty good. Yeah. It's like well above average in the UFC. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there's any question. And especially seeing his striking, he fought a dude who, did pots and plants and stuff. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. He did what he was supposed to. He knocked out the guy, which he's got hands. Like, he looked good in that fight, obviously. But, I don't know. I could very well see... I could see him getting... I think he'll get a top 10. And then after that, I think they'll rush the title.
I think my issue is, Bo Nickel's on the main card. I wish he wasn't. Arguably, look at all the prelims. Yuri, Figgy, Garbrandt, name a fight, and I would say most likely it probably deserves to be above this fight. I just think the issue for me is that I think Bo Nickel was ready for a test, and they just didn't do it. If you would have put Bo Nickel on the main card and gave him
a test,
top 15, then fine.
Like a no-name. Number, I don't want to speak out of pocket, but I know, I have to look at the rankings, but if you give him, 15 or 14, you're not going to hear complaining because it's at least better than a Gardner.
It's doing something for him. If you give him a top 15 or, 15 through 13, he wins a fight, give him that guy's ranking. That does something for Bo Nickel, but Here we are, him fighting another unranked guy, and it doing nothing other than getting him closer to a ranked guy when he's already ready for it. I think that's the big issue that I have with Bo Nickel being on the main card.
No, I think that's fair.
I don't know. I definitely think this is a case of Dana maybe trying to hype up, which business-wise, it's good. That's a good call when you have someone with that type of ability and resume, as young as he is too. Why wouldn't you? Like, why wouldn't you just build him up, throw him on a stage? Like, there's going to be, what, he said, like, over 1 million pay-per-view buys? It's like, why would you not have him fighting an absolute can and make him look good?
That's kind of interesting because I wonder, like, putting Bo Nickel on the main card, there's no way in Dana's head he didn't realize people are not going to like this that much, right? So it's almost like, I wonder if Dana went into that and he booked it and was like, I kind of want to make this guy, like, a little bit of a villain, you know? Like, I wonder if that goes through his head, you know? I feel like it would in that, like, evil genius's head.
It's possible.
No.
Because that's what I mean. There's just no way in my mind that Dana could have put that on the card and been like, people are going to love this, you know?
I think he knew. I think he knew it'd get people talking about it. But I'll tell you what, looking at the rankings, I think a realistic next fight for him could be Jack Hermanson. I do also just want to say I have Bo first round sub. I don't know if I said that.
Oh, yeah. Just to reiterate, I had Bo with first round knockout.
Okay. I said Bo second round sub.
Gotcha.
So, Oliveira Sarukin.
I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see Charlie fight again. He didn't make weight for the Islam fight, and I'd seen him knock out Benny. Other than that, I hadn't watched a live fight.
Right. He didn't make weight for the Gaethje fight because that's why he had to really.
He had the cut for the Islam fight, and that got canceled. Yeah, dude, I don't care. I put this in. I'm ready for it. I don't care if Sarukin's good on the ground or not. Give me Charlie round 2 sub.
Round 2 sub.
Don't care. Don't care how good Sarukin is on the ground. The champ has a name. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Olives, baby.
The champ has a name. I will see Charlie arms spread pointing at the canvas.
At his corpse.
After he chokes another man out. This is what's happening.
I don't know. I feel like Charlie's just kind of had that aura around him lately where in the octagon, he can really do no wrong. Like, with that fight against Benny, like, I know that Sarukian knocked him out too. But I don't know, there's just something about Charlie that was different. Like, it seemed a lot more, like, just aggressive. Like, he's always kind of been that fighter, but he's also not been one to, shy away from pulling guard. Like, if he gets knocked down, he'll sit there, which is smart because he recovers and, gets rid of the cobwebs. But
yeah,
I think that there's kind of a fire lit under him where he wants to get that belt back and he wants to get that fight back.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. That's kind of like a cheat code because if he sits there and pulls guard, and like he did that against Gaethje, right, where he's just sat on the ground.
Against Gaethje,
because like what are any of those guys gonna do? They're gonna go top mount on Charles Oliveira? No.
Poirier just jumped the guillotine.
Yeah, Poirier just jumped the guillotine. But no, I am just so unbelievably excited to see Charlie again, because he would probably be my number 1 fighter over Pothon if I got to see him fight more, because he's just so cool. I don't know what it is, man.
I mean, yeah, my ultimate view on this one, I think that Oliveira is a very seasoned vet. He has the most finishes in UFC history. He's proven to be that guy. I think it comes down to who have they fought and how have they performed. And I think that Oliveira's fought numerous people at that caliber that Sarukian's at and above. Like, just looking at some of the people he's fought, I mean, you've got beat Poirier, beat Chandler, beat Gaethje. Obviously, he lost to Islam, but he at least got a feel of what it's like to be in there with Islam. I mean, he is that dude. He's fought people like Sarukian before. Sarukian's never fought anyone like Oliveira. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I've got Oliveira round 2 knockout.
I've got Oliveira round. I'm gonna give him round 3 sub. I think he's gonna strike with him for a couple of rounds, and then I think he's gonna. Sarukin's eventually going to get tired, and I think, he gets sloppy, gives up his back at one point, and it's all over.
Yeah. And then, so what happens then? Like, where does Charlie go from here? Does he have to win another
title
one?
Shot.
Or a straight title shot? Because it sounds like they're already trying to line up Poirier for a title shot right
I think
now.
Poirier will take the next title shot. I don't think it'll be a situation where. I think timing wise it'll work. I think it'll give Charles like a little bit of a layup, like probably a 6 to 8 month layoff.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of what he desires anyways. I think he'll take that time, he'll train, and I think he'll eventually fight probably back into this year, November, December for the title.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. So that means we either get the Islam rematch or a Poirier rematch, right? Because they have fought before, right?
Yeah.
And I'm down for either.
You're saying Oliveira and Poirier?
Yeah.
That was a good fight. That was a really good fight.
And I'll speak this to the camera right now, and the internet can post me everywhere if I get this wrong. Give me Poirier against Islam, jumping the gilly in the first round, and it's
Don't
over.
be silly.
Always jump the gilly. That's how Poirier is gonna win. I'm telling you right now. First round.
It's possible.
You know, I personally see a world with this card where I think you realistically have an argument that 3 out of the 4 people in those lightweight fights are going to fight for a belt. I don't think Holloway would take that fight against Islam. I think he'd go back down to fight Ilya because I think ultimately that's what he wants. I think he wants that 145
I feel like
back.
that. I don't know why. I feel like maybe I've heard something or whatnot. I feel like that's what Dana wants to happen. I think he wants Holloway to go back down and fight Ilya. I think that would be a great fight. I really like that fight.
I think that I think no matter what, win or lose, I think Gaethje's due for a title shot. I think if it goes to just a real grueling decision, I think no matter the outcome, I think that Gaethje gets a title shot. And I don't foresee Sarukian getting an immediate title shot. I think just kind of the way that Islam conveniently lined it up.
Yeah.
I think he wanted to fight Poirier, which I don't know how that one goes, to be honest.
I mean, either.
I don't know. I think that fight will end up happening in June, and then the winner of I would say either Oliveira or Gaethje will get that fight, and then I think whoever doesn't get that fight, I think you have a legitimate case for an interim belt between, like say Oliveira gets the shot between Sarukian and Gaethje.
Yeah, I think it's getting to a point now where, like, especially with this card, you have those 2 fights in that division. We're getting to the point now where you cannot afford Islam to have 1 fight a year anymore. Like, this is not okay.
Totally agree.
Because you arguably, no, not even arguably, at this point, that is the most stacked division in the UFC. Like, it is, there are so many guys in there that are ready for a title shot or are right there. Like, there's just, you can't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Islam can't hold the belt for a year and not fight until the end of the year or whatever. Like, it's a problem now because you're holding up all these guys, especially because most of them are in their primes right now. Like, most of these guys are what, like 32 to 34.
Yeah, I mean,
and they're like
there's
prime.
only a couple of years.
Right.
Yeah.
When was Islam's last fight? Wasn't that October?
Volk.
Yeah. Where he knocked him out. That was October 21st. So that's the thing that drives me nuts is there's literally no damage taken in that fight at all. He didn't take anything.
Exactly.
And he knocked him out, and it's October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. So you're telling me it's going to be 9 months for him to fight again after taking no damage? Like,
yeah,
that doesn't sit right with me.
No, and that's what I mean. It's like you don't sustain any damage, and you didn't even fight a guy in your own weight class. You haven't fought a guy in your weight class since you won the belt.
He's never he's literally never defended it. He hasn't defended it against anyone in his weight class.
That's what I mean. Like,
it's criminal for that weight class.
Especially for that weight class, and the fact that all these guys are in their primes, and it's like Islam being like McGregor to all those guys is Mike Chandler, where we're just wasting their primes because we got a guy sitting with the belt for a whole year before he fights anybody.
Right.
So I don't know.
But that's one thing Dana's real good about is I think he knows how much money there is, especially after UFC 300. There's a lot of money to be made in that lightweight division because you've got 2 very high-profile lightweight fights happening. Arguably, I mean, I think you could argue 3 depending on the result of the Moicano Jalen Turner.
Yeah.
But I think that if Islam doesn't agree to a fight, I think he'll be forced to vacate. It's just I don't foresee a world where you can let him just hang on to it and just sit and just let everyone else fight and just
because like you said,
careers.
We're to the point now where it seems like we're gearing towards an interim title fight. Even somebody's gonna get a title shot. There's just too many guys in there that are gonna be ready for a shot that would be like silly not to have an interim belt at this point, because then you can have those. You can be building up towards one of those championship fights while also having the other one closer.
Right.
So that way you already have your next title shot in place. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know, but
so speaking of lightweights, Justin Gaethje versus new lightweight. Well, not new since
2-time lightweight.
Yeah, second
lightweight.
go around lightweight, Max Holloway.
The Blessed Express.
I cannot wait for this experience.
Don't want to watch this fight, and I do want to watch this fight at the same time.
That's what I said. That's what I told you guys. It's the biggest win-win and lose-lose fight for everybody.
I don't want to see anybody lose this fight. At the same time, I know it's going to be a war. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be exactly what the fans want. It's provocative. It gets the people going.
Don't sing the song though, please. That's what I didn't watch the Korean Zombie fight, unfortunately, so I have not yet had a Max Holloway experience on a card, and I am extremely excited. My first experience is going to be with the floral shorts and everything, so like we're ready to go. I'm ready to see like the Max Holloway, and I might have picked the finish that's gonna end up being like, it's probably the best case scenario in this situation. I feel like I had this going to an extremely bloody decision. I think this fight goes like, these dudes are trying so hard to knock each other out that they just can't. Like by the time we get to this isn't a 5-rounder. This is a 3-rounder, right?
Yeah, that's a 5-round.
It's 5-rounder.
Yeah,
so BMF. All the last 3 fights are 5 rounds.
Yes, sir.
That's crazy. So I just feel like by the time we get to round like 3 or 4, if we get to round 3 or 4, because I could also see this being like an early knockout, because it's kind of the same thing I thought with like the Gaethje Poirier fight. I was like, this could either be a long like battle or this is just gonna be quick, So I could see it, but if it gets like round 3, I could see it being to the point where these dudes are just beating each other so much that they just don't have enough in them to knock the other out, and we could get to a decision. And I also have this as fight of the night.
I've got, back to this fight, I have some very opinions.
See, because like I said, this is your your guy.
I'm diehard Blessed Express, baby. Here's my thing. You've got the buzz cut Poirier knocking dudes out. You give Max the buzz cut. He goes back up to lightweight. He gets his floral shorts, and he's fighting for the BMF, which I'm not going to say what that is, but you can do the math. I don't see there being a Max that gets knocked out, and I think you can put Max against anyone pound for pound into a decision, and I don't think anyone's beating Max.
Yeah.
I think he's just about it. He is the definition of the belt, and we've seen how Max fights. He has absolutely unlocked a new knockout power, which is ridiculous with what he did to Korean Zombie. And you even saw him drop Arnold Allen. But just his pure volume alone and him never getting knocked down, I think that streak will still continue. I think you'll see him hurt in this fight. I don't think you'll see him dropped. I don't necessarily think you'll even see him in trouble. I think that Gaethje's gas tank is going to deplete, and Max having that little bit of extra weight and not taking as hard of a weight cut, I think that's definitely going to play. I think that'll play a big factor here. I see a world where they go hard in the paint the entire fight, but Gaethje gets gassed around 3, and Holloway has more fights. If I'm correct, I believe he has more fights that are 5 rounds than 3 rounds. Mm-hmm. I think those championship rounds are just going to throttle Max in just pure volume. I think he's just going to pick him apart. I don't think he'll finish him, but I think you're going to see a decision go to Max.
Yeah.
Gaethje decision.
Yeah?
You want to explain that?
Not really. I mean, it's just... Yeah, I think lightweight Justin Gaethje's got such an impressive track record. Just guys he's fought. He's been around the top his entire career in the UFC. I think, truthfully, Max Holloway, it's a great fighter. I just don't see a world where Max Holloway gets a decision over Justin Gaethje.
But see, I feel the complete opposite way. I feel like I don't see a world in where Gaethje wins a decision against Max Holloway because of the same thing that we've been harping on the whole time. Holloway's volume.
I get that, but at the same time, I think what's going to happen is I think Gaethje's going to come out. He'll control the tempo of the first 3 rounds. Max, yeah, I agree. Max will take over those last 2. But I don't foresee him... 3 rounds beats 2. It's just simple math.
The only thing that I do want to say to that, though, is that if you've noticed Gaethje's, I'd say his last 2 fights, he started out against Poirier, obviously he had that second round high kick knockout, but that first round was very slow. It was just doing feints, seeing what they're going to react on, and he even talked about it in his in the podcast, the what was it, Usman and Cejudo's podcast. He was on it, and even he talked about how that's been really valuable for him to kind of take that first round a little slower and not just go out and instantly brawl, because it kind of gives him a little bit of a chance to kind of just see how his opponent's reacting to everything. Yeah. There's no way he's going to get... I don't think there's going to be 10 seconds into the fight. It's going to be a brawl. Yeah. Instantly. That's just what Max does. He's going to come out. There's no feints, no nothing. Max is just going to go. Max, it's just crazy volume. And the craziest part about it is he holds it for 5 rounds and it never stops. He just goes.
Yeah.
So I think that you see very well that first round going to Max just purely by volume. Gaethje's going to try his feints, and I don't think he's going to be able to get it started.
And I could definitely see Gaethje taking round 2 then, because that just seems to be his round. Mm-hmm. I could see him taking that. And I feel like if there is a knockout, if Gaethje is going to knock Holloway out, which I don't think is happening, it's going to be round 2.
I agree.
We've seen it. And I also, going into 299, thought this was going to be Cheeto's first time getting put on the canvas. I was wrong. I'm not betting against somebody who has not been knocked down before. Again, and I could come to eat my words tomorrow, so we'll see. But I don't know. I feel like Max Holloway's a lot different than Cheeto, obviously.
Right.
But
and I think the other thing that I do think it's worth looking at, he's looked great. Gaethje's looked phenomenal, and I'm a huge Gaethje's fighting anyone else. I'm rooting for Gaethje. I love Gaethje. Right. The only thing with it is that Gaethje, I don't know if you can necessarily say he was winning. It was 1.5 rounds against Poirier. But I remember watching that fight. We got through that first round, and I was just I still think Poirier is probably a little better. It seemed like Gaethje was going to have to resort to wrestling at some point because Poirier's striking was just... It was just a little bit better. And I think that judging by his fight against Benoit Saint Denis, obviously he knocked him out, but he wasn't necessarily winning every exchange up until that last little bit.
Did Poirier win the first round?
No.
No, that's what I thought. I thought I remembered him losing the first round as well.
Which I think he finished in third round, right?
Was it third round?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's third round. But I think there's a real argument that Poirier may have lost those first 2 rounds. But
yeah,
he definitely won the third.
But I mean, hey,
go for it.
Yeah, right.
Love my guy.
So I don't. Yeah, I think this probably will be the best fight that I will have seen since I started watching.
No doubt.
Yeah,
it's just 2 guys that you can put together.
This has fight of the year written all over.
This is a fight Dana can put together any time of the year and be like, I will guarantee this. If I'm killing, if I need some attention on a fight. I get on a card. I will put this fight on, and I will get people there. This is a butts and seats kind of fight, and I'm so excited for it. I cannot wait.
There's no way, from the eyes of the viewer, there's no way that it can go wrong. No matter what, it's gonna go crazy unless you have either a freak injury, which you have that, and then, or you have Holloway getting knocked out, which I think is just going to gut everybody.
I think I would be extremely upset about that.
I would be hurt. I might not watch the rest of the card. I'd take the next fight off because, but...
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, I haven't seen a Max Holloway fight, so I kind of am rooting for Max Holloway more than I am Gaethje. But at the same time, this is kind of one of the fights I get to sit back and watch because I don't have too much investment in either. Which I guess I kind of like Gaethje a little bit more just because I'd seen him. Literally, a lot of some of the guys that I like I said with Charlie would probably be my favorite if he fought more.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what it comes down to. So I'm kind of rooting for Max, but either way, I'm happy that we get to see this fight. I just feel like there's a lot of different outcomes that are going to happen depending on who the winner is. Like if Gaethje wins, there's a whole other set of things that are going to happen versus if Holloway wins. I mean, maybe less Holloway if Holloway loses because all he has to do is go back down. He's got a title shot, and Gaethje keeps his BMF belt, and he is fighting for a title.
Right.
They're really not. They're not gonna call that double champ, are they? That would be so ridiculous.
He'd hold. They wouldn't call it a double champ, but he'd hold 2 belts. He'd hold BMF and that.
Good.
Which it would just depend if they put it on the line or not. Which I would assume every Gaethje fight will be.
Yeah.
Because it just sells more.
I just hope they don't try to claim that's like double champ because that's whatever. But
next fight.
Do you need help with the names? I can help you. I got you.
Zhang Weili versus Yao Xiaoyan.
It was I think I have
not bad there.
That was pretty good.
That was great.
Being chinny.
Insert John Cena. We put him on the screen. You just can't see.
He's there. He's there.
He's there.
I got Zhang Weili. That girl is a brawler.
Yeah, we probably won't have too many, unless Andrew's got something crazy happening. I got it the same way, but I don't know, for some reason I'm probably gonna be wrong about this. I got this going to decision.
I got Zhang Weili knockout 3rd round.
I've got Zhang Weili decision. I don't know. I think I was obviously making. I make fun of the female fighters, but they got some bangers. Like really, you got a couple snooze fests, but I will say that recently the female fighters they've been putting on some bangers.
Shout out Macy Barber.
Shout out Macy Barber, Aaron Blanchfield, Manon Fior, Rose, Thug Rose.
No.
Don't say
No Rose shout
No. Rose came back.
Rose is
back.
Rose is the only Rose is the whole reason that I even considered inviting. That's not the only reason, but that's one of the big reasons I considered inviting all these people back that watched the last card with us is because they were treated to a terrible card.
Fair,
yeah,
but
fair.
So we have to run it back.
Thug, I don't know. I rock with Thug Rose. I'm not gonna get into the Pat Barry thing. But Thug Rose.
Moving on.
She was a gangster, but I don't know. I feel like there's something about Chinese fighters that they're just
they fight for their lives.
It's literally like they're fighting for their lives. Like they throw, and I think that up on that stage, I think Zhang Weili has plenty more experience in those championship rounds. I think gas tank won't play a huge portion because I feel like both of those two fighters have a crazy gas tank. I don't necessarily see any of them going out. I don't think any of them will get submitted. I think it's just. I think it'll be a good. I think you very well may see a $300,000 check going to one of those fighters.
Yeah, that's
what
I mean.
I agree. I think that'll be a really good. That's when you have to watch.
End of the night, though, I'm saying that belt is staying with Zhang Weili.
Yeah.
And it's staying in China.
Yeah, I just don't think... Well, yeah.
Very good.
Nice job. I just don't... for one, I don't see Zhang Weili losing with arguably the greatest set of the new outfits, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She arguably
So
has
dope.
the coolest...
It's so cool.
The coolest ring gear, except for my boy, you know.
Well, we'll get to him.
Yeah.
We'll get there. But yeah, I don't know. I think because, like I said, decision is such a I feel like people can hear the word decision and be like, oh, you know. But
Banger.
I think this will be a good decision.
Banger.
This will be a good decision fight.
I think you'll see probably Zhang Weili. I would say probably. I'd say probably 49, 46.
Yeah, I think. I feel like we will see this fight on the ground. It could just be me. I feel like we will see this fight on the ground.
Easily, yeah.
It'll get down there, but I don't think either of them are really going to want to do too much on the ground because they're both pretty darn good at striking. I think they'll want to keep it there, especially because of the check. That means something.
I could see that being takedown heavy towards the end. Like they're just trying to get points to win the decision because they realize that's like where we're headed. You know. Not too much to write home about in that fight though. I'm just ready to see and try to be proven wrong. You know. Give me the most random celebrity you think they will show on the screen at any point.
Well, you got to think Trump will be there.
Trump will be there. That's not random. Like
Kid Rock will be there.
Who's like they're gonna show him on the screen and you're like, what the heck? What is he doing?
Guy Fieri. Guy Fieri.
That's a really good one. That's a really good one.
Ooh, I gotta think about this. You go first.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of like random.
Because you know that whole Barstool area is gonna be there. Whether it's Bustle with the Boys,
I don't think any of them can.
Nelk Boys, all those guys will be there.
Yeah.
You're gonna have Max Crosby there.
I got it. Maybe not random, but this will be the biggest surprise. I think Connor will be there, and they will show him.
You think Sketch will be there?
That was gonna be mine. I think I'm gonna say Sketch. I think Sketch will be there.
Oh, dude, I can't believe I didn't think about that. Sketch probably will be there. I really hope so. That would
Sketch
make my
will
whole
be
day.
wrapping the BMF belt.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So if we're talking surprise, I think Connor shows up. I think we see Connor in the stands, and who knows, that could mean something, could not.
In terms of random celebrities,
I will say though, if they show Sketch, Andrew wins by far.
Yeah, no.
Andrew wins if Sketch is there, but I win more than anybody if Sketch shows up on the screen.
That's your boy.
Yeah,
that's my guy.
We want to dive in.
Let's get to it.
I think we got to take this one fighter at a time, and then
one fighter at a time.
Jamal Hill. Biggest question for Jamal Hill coming out of this. I think we all know it. Is the Achilles healed? That's not
no pun intended.
Nice. Nice.
It's not an easy injury to come back from.
No.
Not very long ago, that was a career ending.
And that ruins NBA careers as well.
NBA, NFL, just you name it. It's a career.
Well, I mean, there was like 17,000 Achilles injuries last year in the NFL, so.
And so the Achilles really, especially for somebody in an MMA setting, that's where all of your power is coming from. Because you're pushing off, you're constantly checking kicks. Like, this is a situation where your Achilles has to be 100% going into this
One
fight.
Poton kick that goes a little too haywire.
That's what I'm saying.
Boom.
He's got to watch the leg kicks. He's got to watch pushing off of it. He's, like, truthfully, we're going to find out if Jamal Hill has a strong ground game. We saw in the Glover fight he can defend a strong ground game, but does he have one himself?
But the thing is, I feel like, because Jamal Hill has said it a bunch, he's like, I'm not going to the ground. Like, he keeps saying it. And I feel like I'm not calling his bluff on that. I think, just from seeing his personality, I think if he's a guy that's going to say something like that. I agree his
plan isn't.
Yeah, he's not going to do it, you know?
And I don't think he is a strong enough ground specialist where if he goes to the ground, it's going to go well for him. I think in this scenario, it's a big if he can stay healthy through this fight. And I think he's in for a long night.
I've got some opinions on this one. So I think with Jamal Hill, we watched that fight together. Were you there for that?
I've never seen a Jamal Hill fight.
So Jamal fights very flat-footed. And given the whole ACL, or not ACL, that was not ACL, the Achilles,
Mm-hmm.
I think we've all obviously watched Poatan fight, and his leg kicks are just otherworldly. And I think that regardless of whatever facade Jamal Hill would try and put up, because obviously he's not going to say, yeah, it still hurts. Like, no matter what, he's not going to say that. But I don't think there's a way that you can take that type of injury and then come back. What is it, like 16? I want to say it's like 16 months or so. It's not a long time at all for an Achilles, but I just don't see there being a world where he can come back fully 100%, regardless of what doctor he went to, because he went to the same one as Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think he's already going to have enough issues with mobility, and I think Pereira is just going to start firing away, and he's just going to cut all mobility, and when you don't have a base, and you're not mobile, you're not able to move around, you very quickly lose power in your strikes, number one, which he's a power puncher. He's good on his feet. He's a really good boxer. And he's got pretty good head movement. But when you lose all your power and your big thing's boxing, it's tough. And the other thing that I think you have to account for is when he fought Glover, it was a very one-dimensional fight. Glover really had that strategy. I'm going to get him to the ground. I'm just going to hold him there. I'm going to tire him out. And as soon as I can get him down there once, I can hold him. And that's going to tire him out. And I can do that second round, third round, fourth round, fifth round, hold the belt, retire. Jamal didn't do that. He obviously stuffed the takedowns, and he kept the fight on the feet where he wanted it, which ended up working. His game plan worked perfect. But my question is, regardless of what his takedown is, or not takedown, whatever his strategy is, which I would assume it will be takedowns because his mobility is not going to be there. What happens when that gets stuffed? Yeah. Because we saw with Pereira, he was able to stuff takedowns. He did it against Yuri, and he did it a little bit against Jan Blachowicz. Yeah. But if he's stuffing takedowns, there's not really, he's going to have to stand and bang. And I think that for arguably the greatest, I think you can make a case Izzy's one of the greatest middleweights of all time, one of the greatest combat sports athletes of all time. He's much more mobile than Jamal Hill.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. He got caught. Strickland, very hard to hit. He got caught. Yuri, super unorthodox. He got caught. And all those dudes move. They move a lot. Jamal Hill fights flat-footed. He doesn't move. So I see a very real scenario where leg kicks start getting fired, just gets tired out, doesn't move as much, and then Alex just puts it on him, starts throwing knees to the body, just really tires him out and just puts him to sleep.
Yeah. I honestly didn't really know that he was coming back I knew he was injured, and that was why he's out. I didn't know it was Achilles, which obviously is a huge part of your game, especially as a boxer, like you said, with power on the feet. Like I said, you said, Pereira's leg kicks are just second to none.
Otherworldly good.
Yeah. And even that, this is a fight, now that you guys have said that, I feel like this fight could end in, I could see Alex Pereira breaking his Achilles again. If he throws a kick and it gets back there, I could see him snapping something back there. You know what I mean? That's something realistically I could see, but I guess my only concern is I love Alex Pereira is my favorite fighter, and what I hate about it is though I feel like with Charles, the Benny fight, I wasn't holding my breath when that fight happened. Every single Pereira fight I've watched, I've been holding my breath because I feel like it takes one exchange and you don't know which way it's gonna go. And but at the same token, the only reason that he lost the Izzy fight was because he smelled blood in the water and he ran in, and that's exactly what Izzy wanted him to do, and he got caught and he paid for it. And that's my biggest concern with it is he'll land a couple good shots and Jamal Hill will start wobbling, and I saw a clip this guy was saying Pereira, when he gets a hit in, he just turns into a dumb fighter. He's he smells blood and just turns his brain off and just starts swinging, and that is what got him caught against Izzy, and that's what I'm really scared is gonna, because it's not Izzy had to, he came in, he hit him once, he went back, and then he got hit again. Jamal Hill will put his lights out.
Well, and that also got him caught against Yuri. Yuri slipped one in.
That's what I mean, and his stance kind of terrifies me because as much as we talk about Jamal Hill's mobility and we don't really know what his speed's gonna look like coming back, but I feel like he was I just hate his weird little. He's just out. He leaves his face so wide. It's not he's not close in. Yeah. And that's a very kickboxer thing because he uses his legs kind of to do that more than his hands. So I get it, but like you said, Jamal Hill's a great boxer. So I'm just afraid that that's going to be the reason that he gets caught, which I feel like this could go a lot like the Yuri fight. Obviously not with as much of a questionable stoppage because I don't see... I think if this fight happens, probably 10 times out of 10, this fight will not come to a decision. There's just no chance.
I would argue it could go 5-5. I think there's real potential for this. Like, I know I talked a lot about Alex doing, following his game plan, which is obviously it's gonna be kick the legs, take away mobility. Mobility goes power, or with your basic goes power, and then at that point it's your fight to win. But at the same time, if Pereira got knocked out cold by Izzy, I can guarantee you Jamal Hill hits harder than Izzy.
Exactly.
And like you said, Pereira is not always the smartest fighter. And I think there's a real possibility that... And I would also say Jamal has multiple ways he can win this because Pereira isn't horrible on the ground. Like, he was able to get up against Jan Blachowicz, who's a big
He's definitely improved on the ground, but
Jamal Hill... Jamal Hill can win this just by taking him to the ground, which, again, I definitely foresee that being part of his game plan in the later rounds because I think that mobility... I could see Jamal Hill getting gassed. And I know you had your shoulder injury, and I know that there's definitely a factor of it, regardless of whether or not you're 100%. Like, say you are 100% with your shoulder, and you're doing like you're throwing a baseball or something.
There's still a level of hesitancy.
It's gonna be in your head, and I think that if there was any fighter in the UFC that you cannot hesitate with, is Pereira.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately that will result in a knockout.
So, yeah, that's what I mean. It goes either way.
So in terms of predictions, Declan, what's your final prediction?
This one, I had to be biased because, like you said, it could be 5-5. They fight 10 times, 5 times Pereira knocks him out, 5 times Jamal Hill gets a knockout. So I went biased. I got a round 2 finish. I feel like Pereira's always... I feel like Pereira's very good, especially in the first round, at making fighters play to his style. Like, he's going to make you play his speed. Like, if he wants to feel you out, you're not going to be able to push against him. Like, you're not going to be able to get aggressive. If he wants to sit there and wait and feel you out, that's what he's going to do. Because I feel like he likes to do that in the first round. And, like, he takes a couple shots, he'll give a couple shots, but it's, for the most part, it's kind of like Gaethje, like you mentioned. Like, he likes to take that first round slow. So I see that happening, and then when we get to round 2, I think it's very similar to, like, Yuri, where we just turn it on. Like, round 2 is where we really get going. And I don't think, like, it could be the first exchange, but I don't see it going more than, like, 5 exchanges between them before one of them gets hit with something. And bias, this could be part of my bias, but I think Pereira just has too many tools he can use to win those exchanges over Jamal Hill. Like, I think he's just got way more in his arsenal that he can use to finish Jamal Hill than Jamal Hill has against him. Because I feel like a lot of Jamal Hill would be, like, the big punch or whatnot. Mm-hmm. So I think I got a round 2 finish for Poatan.
I've got Poatan round 3 knockout, which I think will either be, I would say a TKO, because I think it'll either be a knockout or I think you may see an injury, because I think at that point your leg kicks are really going to start wearing on.
Yeah. And
you might see his hesitancy match with those leg kicks, and I don't know. I think you could see him re-injure that Achilles, which I hope not. That would suck. I do like Jamal Hill a lot, and I don't ever want to see any fighter get hurt like that. Other than like Ian Gary, but outside of that, no, I don't want that. He's a weirdo, but no, I think you'll see a TKO round 3.
I would say for me, TKO round 4. Whether it's leg kicks, whether it's knocked out, somebody's going to sleep, and that's going to be Pereira putting him to sleep. So I think Pereira wins TKO round 4.
I know, that's what makes me so scared though, is because people keep saying in the comments, like, everyone is just underrating Jamal Hill so insanely. Everybody thinks this fight is so lopsided, and that's what terrifies me.
I think the Achilles thing is the biggest thing for me.
Yeah,
I think Achilles. If it wasn't for the Achilles, I'd say Jamal Hill's probably going to overpower him. I think the Achilles is a game changer.
Yeah, but like I said, Jamal Hill has got more power, but like I said, like, that power difference is not that huge that I think Pereira, as far as like the amount of different strikes that he could throw, outweighs the amount of different strikes that Jamal Hill throws, that I think it kind of can offset that power difference. Because, like, Jamal Hill throws a big overhand, and Poton slips, jumps up, knee, he's out. Like it's like that's just an example, but I just feel like there's so many more things that that Poton can do than Jamal Hill. But
Absolutely.
I don't want to see my Brazilian king flatline again.
Don't take away my
I just can't see him laying unconscious on the ground while his son is being taunted with arrows.
Well, it's we'll see tomorrow.
Give me Poton's getting a bonus. Bo Nickel will get a bonus. That's just kind of a prediction. That's less of me like giving out bonuses for what I think. I could see Yuri getting a bonus, just for having a solid night, and then I could see Jalen Turner getting my fourth bonus. Was that third or fourth? That was fourth, right?
Fourth, yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's Pereira gets a bonus, Zhang Weili gets a bonus, Gaethje Holloway gets fight of the night, Oliveira gets a bonus, and Yuri gets a bonus.
Okay. I have my boy Jim Miller. I think he'll get a performance bonus by knocking out Bobby Green. Title run. And then I think Bo, I think he'll get a performance bonus. I think the winner of Holloway and Gaethje will get a performance bonus. And I think I could argue both will get performance bonuses on that one. And then that will, without a doubt, be fight of the night. And then winner of the main event will get a performance bonus as well.
I agree.
All right.
It's set. Here you go. Super Bowl style.
Oh, yeah.
We're kind of treating this bigger than the Super Bowl, really.
This is my Super Bowl.
This is my Super Bowl. Yeah, we got a bunch of people coming over for it. Well, I think we've invited a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Doing the whole food shindig and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But man, from morning until 6 o'clock, it's gonna be like the longest.
It'll just be like
It's-
that. It'll be like Christmas Eve night, just waiting.
That's gonna do it. Thanks if you stuck all the way through that. Yeah. Chama. God bless. See you guys next time.